Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm basically here in the Cosmos Church parking lot, and I have a demonstration for you today. How does single tracking work? Some of you should be familiar with this if you take public transit in a city that does not have 3 tracks. So I'm talking Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, Texas. Many states has only 2 tracks in their public transit systems. California, BART is a famous one. MARTA is very good at educating people on single tracking. If you're in the outskirts of New York City, you'll see some of it too. New York City on average has 3 to 4 tracks, so they don't really need to single track into oncoming lanes, but it's still a form of single tracking. It almost always works the same way. So if you look, you'll see a normal flow pattern for the trains. So if you are on the right end, for those of you in Europe, in the United States, trains do drive to the right side of the track with the conductor's cab on the right, not the left. So the purple blocks are the arrows indicating the direction of travel. So the gold blocks are indicating a station. Most transit agencies will put switches every 2 stations. So now if they're single tracking, you are on the right side. Without single tracking, you're going to stop at this station, stop at this station, continue out. But look, what if something goes and happens between this station and this station? So let's just put a block on the track to indicate that there's issues on it. Notice how the block is all the way up here. So it really, hypothetically, you'd think it wouldn't affect this station. Well, not really. So if you are single tracking, which it's gonna become necessary because if the train goes down this track, it will not get by. If there's construction work on this track, it will not get by. So what it now has to do is the train will have to drive into the oncoming lanes. And I am going to change the arrows to reflect this. So the train has to drive into the oncoming lanes. So now when the train does this, what if there's a train coming down the other track? Because the train's just going to drive by, pass all the commotion on this track, go back and go about its normal business. So when you see this, you're probably thinking, well, what happens to the train that's here? What really has to happen is the train has to stop a safe distance away from the junction, allow the train that is in its oncoming lane to pass, switch back over to its track, and then continue. So if you've ever been on public transit, it's your fault why you decided to leave exactly the time it would take to get to work on public transit. If it takes 1 hour for you to get to work, you leave 1 hour before you have to be there. And the train pulls to here and then stops right here just so it can let the train pass and go on its way. And you blame the train driver or get off of the train, go on to the nearest bus and blame that driver. Well, now you know that when you're single tracking, it's very easy. You can't use this track. So now you're going to have the oncoming train is going to come into this lane, come down, go back into its lane. You have to wait for the train to clear all of this, because remember, trains can only drive where there are tracks. It's not gonna drive across the pavement. The train is not a bus. So the next part of single tracking, I'm pretty sure you already know that it's only gonna switch where there are switch points. So the train cannot technically come to this station and cross over because there's nowhere to do it with. So now when the train crosses over there, this may be the southbound platform. This is the northbound platform. So now you would hear the announcements that northbound trains are boarding on the southbound platform. So now this northbound train is going to board on the southbound platform, continue, go about its business. The southbound train is going to come and board on its own platform. Which is why when you hear single tracking, you should pay very close attention, or else you might end up getting on the wrong train. Most trains will tell you where they're going anyway, and the best thing to do is listen or read the train to see where it's going. Also instructions from the driver. Another thing is that literally, I thought I wouldn't have to say this, but I mean, every time you are late, it's not the driver's fault. I mean, driver does not make the rules. I don't know why am I coming down on this, but seriously, I mean, you get blamed for stuff all the time. I'm cleaning this up, I don't know why. But seriously, that's how single tracking works. I'm gonna have to give this church some money for their parking lot. So, thank you and have a blessed day.